Hi Grant, welcome to kicking. For kicking, you're gonna need some tape or a poly spot or a shoe. I'm gonna be using a shoe to mark where I'm gonna be kicking from. You're also gonna need a nice big soft ball that you're gonna use to kick. When you're kicking, Grant, make sure you're in a safe, open space where there's nobody around you, because you don't want to hit anyone with the ball when you're kicking. Have fun kicking, Grant. Hi, Grant. For your first kicking task, you're gonna need a ball like this, and you're gonna need a shoe to mark where you're gonna be kicking from. You're gonna be using a shoe, or if you have a poly spot, you could use a poly spot or even a piece of tape. So, for our first task, Grant, we're gonna be taking our shoe or our poly spot, and we're gonna be kicking near the wall. So we're gonna stand right near the wall, right where I am right now. Right where you're looking from is the wall. So we're gonna take 4 steps away from the wall like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're gonna be 4 steps away from the wall, and you're gonna put your piece of tape or shoe right where your 4 steps are. So that's gonna be where you want your ball. So you're gonna put your ball right there, Grant, just like that. Okay, now make sure before you kick, Grant, there's nobody in front of you so you don't hit them with the ball. So what you wanna do, Grant, is you wanna kick near the wall. So right now we are near the wall, and we're gonna kick the ball to the wall. Remember, Grant, when we're kicking, you wanna make sure your foot is planted right next to the ball before we kick it. Watch how I do it, Grant. Ready? I'm gonna plant my foot and kick, just like that. I'm gonna do it again, Grant. Watch me again. I'm gonna plant my foot and kick. See how I did that, Grant? See how we're kicking from near the wall? Give it a couple tries, Grant. Can you kick near the wall? Can you hit the wall from a near distance? Remember to plant your foot. Good job, Grant. Now, after kicking near the wall, Grant, I want you to take your piece of tape off the floor, your poly spot, or your sneaker, and take 4 big steps away from the wall where we just are. From where we are, take 4 big steps. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Put it right here. Do that, Grant. Have your teacher help you out with that. Now, instead of kicking from a near distance, Grant, we're gonna be kicking from a far distance. See how far that is? That's where we're gonna be kicking from. We're gonna try to hit the wall again. Watch me, Grant. Remember, just like when we were kicking near the wall, you wanna plant your foot right next to the ball. Oh, there we go. So we're gonna kick from a far distance, Grant. Ready? Watch. See that? See how I planted my foot next to the ball? Watch me again from a far distance. Plant my foot and kick. Seen that, Grant? See, now I just kicked from a far distance instead of from a near distance. This is what I want you to try, Grant. Can you kick from a far distance for me? Go ahead, give it a try. Very good, Grant. Now, Grant, let's take a look at this worksheet I have for you. Do you see that farmhouse right over there? And do you see the 1, 2, 3 animals? You see the 3 animals in this picture, Grant? Can you tell me, Grant, which animal is near the house? Is it the goat or is it the ducks? Good job, Grant. The goat is near the house. Now, Grant, can you tell me which animal or animals are far from the house? Which ones are further from the house? Good job. It's the ducks. They are further away from the house than the goat is. Now, Grant, what I want you to do now is take the marking you had from before. I want you to move it from the far distance back to the near distance. So what you want to do is take those 4 big steps back towards the wall. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Back to right here where you're kicking from a near distance. So Grant, I want you to kick from a near distance 3 times, okay? Can you kick from a near distance 3 times? And then after kicking from a near distance, I want you to take your marking and move it back 4 big steps and move it to the far distance. And then I want you to kick from the far distance 3 times. Can you do that for me, Grant? Can you kick from the near distance 3 times? And then can you kick from the further away distance another 3 times? Have fun, Grant, and I'll see you in your next task. Hi, Grant. Welcome to your second task for kicking. For this task, we're going to be using the same big softball like the first task, and we're going to be using a poly spot, a piece of tape, or a sneaker like we did in the first task too, to mark where we're going to be kicking from. You're also going to want a wall to use as your target, Grant. So in this task, we're going to be running up to the ball and kicking it. So take a look at this guy, Grant. You see how this guy is running up to the ball before he is kicking it? See that? That's what we're going to be doing, Grant. We're going to be running up to the ball before we plant our foot and kick it. So, before we start kicking, Grant, let's run a couple times, because that's what we're going to be doing before we kick the ball today. So, from where your wall is, I want you to take 6 big steps away from it with your marking, okay? So take your marking and take 6 big steps away from the wall. Do it with me, Grant. If you need help, have your teacher help you with this. So take your marking and let's go 6 big steps away from the wall. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Put your marking right over here, Grant. Now, from your marking, I want you to run to the wall, and then when you get to the wall, I want you to run back to your marking, and then I want you to run back to the wall again. Okay, Grant? Let's do it. Let's run to the wall, back and back. Ready? Do it with me, Grant. Let's run. Good job, Grant. We're gonna run before we kick in this task. Okay, so now, what I want you to do is go grab your marking. And now, from the wall, I want you to put your marking 5 big steps away from the wall and put your marking there to mark where you're gonna be kicking the ball from. Okay, Grant? So, let's take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 big steps away from the wall and put your marking right there and put your ball right there, because that's where we're going to be kicking from to hit the wall. Now, Grant, I want you to take 10 steps behind you, because from where you're standing with the ball, you're going to take 10 steps that way behind you, and you're going to, because that's where you're going to run from before you kick the ball. So each time before you kick, you're going to stand next to the ball, and you're going to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You're going to take 10 steps away, because you're going to run up to the ball, plant your foot next to it, and kick it. Watch me, Grant. Run. Seen that, Grant? See how I ran from 10 steps behind the ball? See how I ran up to the ball, planted my foot next to the ball, and kicked it? Watch me again, Grant. Watch me run up and kick the ball. Remember, Grant, when you're running up to the ball, make sure you plant your foot next to the ball when you get to it before you kick it. So let's take the 10 steps back. 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Watch me again, Grant. Seen that? See how I ran, planted my foot next to the ball, and kicked it? That's what I want you to do, Grant. Can you kick the ball from running? Can you kick the ball from running up to it from 10 steps behind the ball? Give it a try, Grant. Do what I did. Put the ball at your marking and then take 10 steps behind it and kick the ball. Watch me one more time, Grant. You're gonna put your ball at your marking, take 10 steps behind your ball, run up to your ball, plant your foot, and kick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Run, plant your foot, and kick. Can you try that, Grant? Can you try that for me 5 times? Can you run from 10 steps behind your ball, up to your ball, plant your foot next to your ball, and kick it to the wall? Can you try to hit the wall 5 times? I'm sorry, Grant. Can you try to hit the wall 5 times from running up and kicking the ball? Have fun, Grant, and be safe.